in the bonus session here. Let me go ahead and unmute everyone. All right, here we go. For anybody that needs to leave today, we didn't have Peter on today. Somebody's got to rebuke Peter. Anybody want to rebuke Peter? Nobody? Nicole, how about you?
I'll do it.
Okay, so Nicole can rebuke Peter because Nicole, she missed the last couple weeks, and the last couple weeks is I'm like, I want to get Peter and Tom to both talk. I want to get Tom to talk about how he raised over $100 million for Easter seals and how by helping raise money for great causes. So there's two brand new causes that you guys will want to look into. One is Discovery Learning, so that's coming out through Life Masteries Institute. And then the other is the mobile app, which is through Life Masteries and Legacy Partners. And so Tom has some of the most amazing secrets on how you can raise money for a great cause and make a boatload of money yourself and give yourself time back. Like most people that contribute to great causes, they don't think of how they're going to make money doing it, and they don't think about how they're going to get time. They think about giving money and they think about giving time, but they don't think about getting time and getting money, and that's where Tom's got some great insights. So hopefully Tom and Peter will be here next week. So Nicole, definitely, and then somebody else wants to, probably Elise, make sure that I get Nicole when we have Tom and Peter here, and Nicole and maybe Alan and or Nancy, both of them would be great, to talk about how do we leverage the affluent and influence, people who have affluent and influence in our life. It seems like people are always afraid of talking to them. It's like they're like I'm a guy. So it's like the prettiest girl in high school. Like, I'm not going to ask her for a date. She'd say no to me. I mean, she often doesn't get asked for any dates because everybody's afraid of, all the guys are afraid of asking her for a date. So people who have tremendous affluence and influence, everybody's nervous about asking them for something, and I get that because purity of heart, you don't want to go ahead and ask them for something. And so here's a tip that I've learned is, you guys, most of you are familiar, ask the biggest challenge. Like, I'm just curious with all the things you got going in all areas of your life, what would you love, what's your biggest challenge? What would you say your biggest challenge is? With affluent or any people of affluence, you want to ask them one question. Say, I was just curious. I was thinking about you the other day, if you know them. Or if you just met them for the first time, same thing. You can say, I'm just curious, if somebody, anyone, and you got to say it just like that, if somebody, like anybody, could help you in any area of your life, what would you love help with? So you ask, you don't lead with biggest challenge with, we won't go into the details as why that's better to do it that way, but it is better, trust me, almost always. Ask them if somebody, anybody, you're not asking them if you can help them because, hey, they're really affluent, really, what do they need? Trust me, they need something. And what do we know about people who often, not everybody, but what's the tendency of, why can Paul help people with affluence and influence potentially more than anybody else on this call? Does anybody know why Paul loves me so much? Why he thinks I'm like one of the coolest guys on the planet? Does anybody know?
Paul doesn't even know why.
Paul doesn't even know why. That's why he loves me so much. See, this is the thing that I'm learning about leverage. I'm learning that I'm a very strange person. Now, most of you would say, really? You didn't know that? No, I'm more strange than I even thought I was. What I'm recognizing when I'm learning, from Peter and from Tom and from each of you, actually, what I'm learning from each of you is I want to share it with other people. But most people aren't like that. And it's a shame because they lose a lot of leverage. So I gave you all a hint at the beginning with a gentleman at the, like Paul would love this guy. And Paul might even come out to a coffee connection. It's a by invitation only, so it's very exclusive. But I think I could get Paul in. But Jeff, who's 63 years old, like he's bent over, constant pain. The guy's just amazing. Like he would just think so much of Paul, and Paul would think so much of Jeff. It would be just, and Paul could help Jeff in the most amazing way. And Paul would be more interested in probably helping Jeff than actually talking to another friend of mine who has, 100 loan officers or 60 loan officers. And so Paul would be probably more interested in helping Jeff than, 60 people in the mortgage origination, but he'd be willing to do both. So affluent and influential people, what do we know about them?
That they all have pain in their lives?
They all have pain in their life. Well, that's kind of obvious. Like, everybody has pain, right?
Right, but they have money and pain.
Okay, but money is going to help with the pain.
Not necessarily.
So what do we know about people who have affluence and influence? They are often what? Not always, not the Zuckerbergs, not the tech people, but most people who have affluence and influence are what? You guys, man. Oh. Okay, let me walk you through the dots. Let me connect the dots. They are often older. I know, you're all sitting down, hopefully, and like, the guy is a wizard. The guy is a wizard. How in the world? I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed. Yep, there's no question. The guy's a wizard. Okay, see if you can connect the next dot, okay? Why might Paul be able to help people of affluence and influence?
Because if they're older, they have more ailments.
Right, they have more pain. Do they have more physical pain or emotional pain?
Both.
Both. Because you start having kids and then grandkids and great-grandkids, and you have people dying, and you have all this kind of stuff. You have so much physical and mental pain. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And so the medical community is going to, by and large, do what to people who are older?
Medicate them.
They're going to medicate them. So Jeff is so frustrated because he's like, honestly, I'm addicted. like I'm taking so many meds, I can't even think straight. It's like, yeah. And so Paul's does a white paper on, this topic. And does anybody know how much time it would take Paul to write, this white paper on pain?
30 minutes.
Okay. Paul, any guess that you would have on how long it would take you to write it?
5 minutes.
Wow.
Maybe 10.
Oh, my gracious. That's insane. Nobody does that. One of the reasons I love Paul is, I never know exactly what he's going to say. I did not expect that from Paul. So can you write that today, since it's only 5 or 10 minutes and there's 1,440 minutes in today?
Wow, I accept your challenge, Mark.
All right. Awesome. Alan and Nicole, questions or thoughts?
No, it was good to hear.
What was good to hear about it?
Just the thought process of going through, affluent people, just stating the obvious.
Excuse me? You don't say that to the wizard. The wizard's brilliant. The wizard sees things that are impossible for the normal person to see. That's not obvious. You don't degrade the wizard. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Other things? Alan? Is Alan there?
No.
He's not? Okay, that's fine. All right, Teresa, what would you like to accomplish?
Morning. Wanted to see, I'm not sure if Dale is still on, wanted to welcome him into that and see how maybe we could leverage hosting a mini event and building connections locally here.
Welcome, Dale. How are you doing today, sir? Dale is on, but he might be on mute. So,
I'm good, guys. Thank you. Sorry, I was on mute there.
Yeah. So, Dale, you've been on for the last 11 minutes. There's been a lot of stuff going on. In the Q&A session, it gets pretty interesting, and then in the bonus session, it's any topic about anything, anywhere, anyway. So contextually, you jump in. It's like jumping into the virtual insane asylum.
I was in. I jumped out. I had stuff going on here, and then I jumped back in.
Okay, good. Any questions or thoughts that you have, Dale?
No, I just was trying to follow along, and I apologize. And next time I will be more. I'll be able to hopefully do the whole call.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And the thing that's nice about the backstage passes, when you register for the event, get the backstage passes, because you can go back, and it's almost like a mini series. like it all builds on previous sessions, and if you skip a session, you're like, wait a minute, what happened there? And the same thing is true. And so you can go back when you register for the backstage passes, and you can pick up all the previous sessions, which give contextual to what we're doing. David, what would you like to accomplish, your questions you have?
Hello, Mark. Just how to deploy, the opportunity to connect and build connections and invite people to join the Leverage program.
Cool. So let me answer David's question and Teresa's question simultaneously. So when you become a wizard, you can take 6, 7 different questions that seem to not have any, connection together, and you can answer all the questions together with one shot. So David is out of Nashville. Do any of you know anybody that lives in Nashville?
No, but I want to go there.
Why do you want to go there, Dale?
I do.
Do you know why you want to go there?
Why?
I didn't know if there was. Have you ever been there?
Because I've never been in it.
Oh my gracious!
It's like a fun place, and I
yeah.
country music.
Oh my gracious, for sure. Yeah, if you haven't been to Nashville, Nashville, I've been all over the world. I've never been to a place like Nashville.
Yes, and it seems like it's not too far away to make
right.
like a weekend type of trip.
Right, absolutely. So what you could do is you could go ahead and Jonathan, he's also in Nashville as well. And so David could partner up with Jonathan, and you guys could do a mini event, David. So a mini event is really simple. It's really easy. You go online to start-mastermind-seminars.org. So start.mastermind-seminars.org. And so you go to that and then go to register, and then just register for, the mini event. It's okay to register for an event that's not even in your area. you can host an event. So if you host an event, you get anybody who attends, you get 25%. So, you're not really doing it for the money because it's only $20, but it's still money. And so you register and say, okay, I'm going to host it. And if you're hosting it, you get 25% of the people, whatever comes in. And then if you invite somebody, you get 25%. So if you're hosting people and inviting people, you get 50%. And there's an entire back-end system with a workbook that'll just blow your mind. And so, David, I think for you, it's the disciplines to get some of what Leverage is all about is building a business operating system, the engine that runs our business. We earn the money, we earn, work the hours we work, have the stress we do or don't have in our lives because of that engine. And so it's getting that engine in place, becoming a legacy partner. That would be really good. And, you're actually one now. You might not know it, but you are one now. If you register for the Leverage course, you become one. And so there's some really cool things going on, David, there that'll give you leverage of CRM, give you leverage of your networks. The challenge is having a network. Paul, you had mentioned something I hadn't heard you say before about my networks and my connections.
Yep. What about it?
What did you say about it, and why did you say it?
I said it because it's true, and what I said was that I've never met anybody in my life that has a larger sphere of connectivity or influence across so many different areas. I mean, you started out in kind of the mortgage space a million years ago, and, looking at whatever slide you had up, you've got, spiritual part, you've got a, health and whatever part, and a mortgage spot, and mastermind, and, on and on and on, and you have connections in all of those facets. It's fascinating to me.
And why is it fascinating?
Because I thought I had a lot of connections, and
Paul does, like all of you. Like he's not able to talk to all of you, but anyone that, if you ever have a chance to see Paul speak or to go ahead and talk to him, he's insane. I mean, the way he thinks, I've never met anybody that thinks the way he thinks. And so Teresa and David, so as you develop relationship and connection with Paul, so David's in real estate, Paul, and so he could help all of your clients leverage realtors. Teresa is strong into architects and builders. She's actually the one that's leading up architects and builders, but it says Matt. But Teresa's really the wizardess behind the scene. She's the one that's driving it. Matt King, he's a builder in Indiana, raised Amish, was introduced to him through Coffee Connections. He's on Action Vision, and he's making so much money on Action Vision, it's insane. And it's really weird because he had a lot of these pieces, they just weren't connected. And Tanglewood, who builds $1 million conservatories out in Maryland, and they work obviously with very, very affluent and influential people, and they work with architects and builders. And so, that white paper, Paul, I think is going to connect you with people all around the world. Really, really affluent people. I didn't connect the dots until you were on today, and because of Jeff today, I thought of you when he shared on how much physical pain he was in, and I thought, oh my gracious, that's so cool. Paul can go ahead and help him. What we're doing can really help him a ton. And then I started thinking about affluence, influence, and all of that kind of stuff. And so, like all these connections, but everybody thinks, like, I'm overwhelmed with the connections I have. I can't afford any more connections. Because they don't know how to take their connections and leverage them for additional time. Oh, another person that you ought to connect with, Paul, is Lee. Oh, my gracious. Like, Lee, what would you like to accomplish today?
I, wanted to, I guess, touch some more on how to best leverage the momentum that started this past week with the 5 early registrations.
So, Lee, people aren't used to working up to an event. They've never, we say it's an event you've never been to, but nobody believes it. Like, you've never been to an event like this, and people don't believe it. And so one of the things that makes it unique is you don't just show up to the event. You can if you want to, but you're not going to get anything close to what you could if you go ahead and do the 12-week countdown. What? There's a 12-week countdown? Yeah, there's a 12-week countdown. And there's a workbook? Yeah, and you can actually start doing it before you go to the event. As soon as you register, get the workbook, print it out, and go through it. So I think we're going to use the Q&A on this call to go ahead and talk about Reno as well. And so Jonathan said that he thought he could be on that, on this call, on the Q&A. If you're on, Jen's on, Jonathan's on, if we can get Ed on, if we can get the other people on, like if I can get you all on, I can show you how all to leverage one another. Like, I would think that women that are over 40 would understand how to, leverage, a millennial young male, but they don't know how to leverage a young male. I would think, young males, like millennials, they're clueless. They have no idea how to leverage a woman over 40. They have no idea how to do that. And so they don't know how to. So I'm going to have to connect the dots for all of you, I think. I wish there was some other way, but I don't know how to do it without having you all on the call. Does that make sense, Lee, or not?
Yeah, it does.
So the first thing that needs to happen is get everybody to print out the workbook and put it into a 3-ring binder. Or, go to a copy shop and, a copy shop and have them print it out and bind it, whatever you do. So have people print out the workbook, and then they need to do the first 10 pages and ideally, or 5 pages, whatever you want them to do. So you drive everyone. See, Jonathan's putting out $2,000 for the event. So now all of a sudden it's like $55. Like, really? So he's a rock star now. Like, why is a millennial from Nashville coming into Reno? Like, why is he doing that? So when you get people coming in from out of town, from around the country, all of a sudden it puts a whole different everything on the event. Like, people locally will be like, wait a minute, there's people coming in from out of town? Jonathan should be put on TV and radio out there. And whoever goes on with him is going to look like a rock star. So he'll have an easier time getting on TV and radio in Reno than any of the local people in Reno. So Paul knows Marv Stockard really good, right, Paul? I think Paul's on still. So Marv is
I'm sorry, Mark. I know. Of course, I know Marv.
Yeah. So Marv is like a legend in the mortgage industry. Like he knows everybody. Like he's one of the most connected people in the mortgage industry I've ever seen. He's unbelievable. And Marv said something to me once that was very profound. He said, Mark, you probably wonder why I don't have you come and speak at the event, like at the mortgage event in Illinois every year. I'm like, I guess so. And he's like, because you have enough content, you could be the keynote speaker every year. Like every year, you could do it. And I know that. But the people in Illinois, they want somebody from outside of Illinois. And so I can only have you speak like once every 2-3 years at the events because they want somebody outside. A prophet's never honored in their own country. So you might be able to go ahead and, Lee, get Paul to come, to come out to Reno to your event and be a speaker. And one of the breakout sessions could be on pain, physical and emotional pain. For sure, he could go ahead and get on TV. And if he and Jonathan and you, or he and Jonathan and Jen, or he and Jonathan and anybody could go ahead and get on, oh my gracious, it would be magic. And so I know that worldwide press is generated by national press, which is generated by local press, regional press, which is city press, which is regional press. So I know how to gain leverage where a simple little, TV interview for even 5 minutes could accelerate Paul worldwide. Like one interview, one TV interview in Reno could go ahead and accelerate him worldwide. When he gets on TV in Reno, everybody in his company is going to look at him different. When he gets invited to speak at an event in Reno, everybody's going to look at him different. What are you speaking on? Well, I'm speaking on 2 things, actually. One is the mortgage industry. So he has a breakout session for mortgage and real estate. And then the other is, pain. Emotional and mental pain. There's a high statistical probability that you could go ahead and get the doctor who's doing an intern, get him to come out there too and also speak. You get a medical doctor who is a specialist in something like that to speak, and you're almost guaranteed to put him on the radio. You go ahead and get a millennial that owns a number of his own companies. Like, that's crazy. And you get a millennial that actually doesn't think like a millennial. I mean, he does because he's my son. I think he thinks like a millennial, but he doesn't. Like, he hates the entitlement. He hates all of the drama. He hates thinking everybody owes you something. Like, every wealthy person on the planet, every parent over 50 wants to have Jonathan influence their millennials because they won't listen to their parents. I didn't think Jonathan was listening to me. I didn't think my 7 kids were listening to me. Sometimes they still don't listen to me, but when they get in front of a group of people, I mean, people think that I'm the greatest dad in the world. I know I'm not, for sure. But, so it's leveraging Jonathan and the millennial. It's leveraging Paul and his interest in his life experience. It's leveraging the doctor who's gone through, my youngest sister's a medical doctor. I mean, David maybe going out or having somebody, connecting with David. Like, there's all these interconnections, and all these connections don't cost us time and money if we know how to leverage properly. Every connection I have gives me more than they take from me. If they don't, then they will tend to exit my life. Like, I don't have to ask them to leave.
I've been in your life for 25 years. That's a huge compliment.
It is. It's not easy to do that. I mean, I'm sure you thought it was easy, but...
No, I do not think it was easy.
Lee, does this help or not so much?
No, it helps a lot. Thank you, and I got to run.
All right, thank you. Rosanna, what would you like to accomplish?
I think I've accomplished a lot. This call has been very eye-opening to me on how to leverage my networks to hit the mastermind seminar early, etc. And so I think it's been very helpful to me in that area.
So you and Jill could help Lee, so you and Jill out of Chicago could help Lee out of Reno on some of the, admin. So what's interesting is the 5 people she got to sign up will sign up, but they probably won't take Lee seriously.
Okay.
And so, but they would take you and Jill, who are strangers to them, seriously. So you or Jill connecting with the people who sign up, and then maybe the people who sign up in Chicago, they won't take you and Jill seriously, but they would take, Lee seriously out of Reno. So you can help her and she can help, you guys. David, I'm sorry, before David, Elise, anything you'd like to accomplish today?
No, I think this is good. It's just looking to help everyone see success in applying leverage to their networks for everyone's benefit.
So do you know what you need to do very quickly, Elise?
Maybe not. I don't know.
You need to find 2 Elises.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're gonna go ahead and cap out. See, I wish, when I was your age, I wish I had somebody my age or with my experience, because I could have saved 20, 30 years. And so you have this tremendous capacity, tremendous bandwidth. You have so much that you are helping people and can help people with, but you need to get 2 people that are your buddies, 2 art buddies, and that they need to do what you tell them to do, when you tell them to do it, how you tell them to do it with a great attitude, and that you're going to be connected to with life for life, and they're going to be connected to you for life. So you need to find 2 people that you're going to have lifelong relationships with, and then you need to pour into them like crazy as I've poured into you. So you need to pour into them as I've poured into you to build that next ripple out for you. Because if you don't get help very quickly with all of the things that you're involved with, like all of the things you're involved with so many things, any one of those things would bury a normal person. Any one of those things a normal person would die for, to have one of those things ever happen in their life. And you have like all of them happening all simultaneously. Questions on that, Elise?
No.
So the questions that Elise is thinking on a subconscious basis is, how do I find those people? So who are your 2 art buddies in the Wizard's art?
Teresa and Gindrian.
Man, they're good. They're really good. So your next question, I think you found them. So I think your next question is so how do I develop them more? So with Teresa, you teach her to trust me more, a lot more, like implicitly, like you do. And with Ginger Ian, you teach her how to have the mental, emotional disciplines that you do. Make sense?
Yeah.
And so I know the two people that you're in, and I know them really intimately. I mean, big time. I mean, one's my daughter, my oldest daughter. And so you help them both develop two people underneath them and then know them as well as I know them. And so, like, the two people you know, you want to know, like, so intimately it's crazy. Like you grew up with them. The next level out, it's harder in a way.
Excuse me, Mark. I'm sorry to cut in. I didn't want to just hang up, but I've got to.
No problem, buddy. You're free to hang up, too, in the future. If you need to, it's not a problem. Thank you. Have a great day. Great contribution today.
Okay.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep. David, anything else you have?
I think I'm good, Mark. Thank you.
So when you think of this call, you always think of 30 minutes. If you're able to stay on beyond 30 minutes, that's a gift from you to me to you, us to one another. So it's always a gift to do more than 30 minutes. But if you think of it as an hour or longer, like if you think of it as an hour or longer, you often think, oh, I can't attend for an hour. You don't have to. You just hang up after 30 minutes. Does that make sense? Any other questions you have, David?
I'm good, Mark.
So there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do with you that I can, leverage with you, and I'm not sure, how to best do that. So if I don't call you, sometime this week, feel free to give me a call if you want to.
Will do.
All right. Thanks, everyone. You all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.